And I actually had a situation like that on a plane one time. Freaked me out completely.
And yeah, wait, so on a plane?
Yeah.
And so what did you, did they go, do we have a doctor on board? And you're there like,
and I
actually.
I had a hoodie on and I'm like,
about
to go to sleep. And I'm like, oh, I can help. And they're like, no, come on, you're not a doctor. And I was like, no, swearsies, I'm a doctor.
Swearsies.
Yeah,
he dropped down the plane.
Yeah.
Okay, now he said swearsies. Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah, he's valid.
So they said, check out this guy. And it was a young guy. He said, I'm having an allergic reaction on my hands. And I'm like, oh, not a big deal. You know, you have allergy medicine? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, take it. You'll be okay. If anything starts happening in your mouth, let me know. I'm sitting in this seat. 5 minutes later, comes back. My throat's closing up. I'm like, all right, give me your EpiPen. He goes, what EpiPen?
Oh,
I go, okay, to the flight attendant, give me your EpiPen. She goes, what EpiPen? And I realized we're going to be in a really bad spot. So I open their kit. I'm looking at the medications. There is no EpiPen, but there is the same medication called epinephrine in a really huge needle that's used if someone's heart stops. It's the same medicine, but different dosage, different needle, much thicker, huge needle. And I'm sitting there like to the pilot, can we land? He's like, we're in the middle of Atlantic Ocean. It's like hours back to Canada or hours forward to Portugal. We're not landing. So I'm like, let's MacGyver this thing. Let's figure it out. Let's estimate because there's no Wi-Fi to look this up. And I give him the dose as accurately as I could in his thigh with his pants down around his ankles in the first class cabin with everyone staring. And he's bleeding all over the place because this needle's way too big, screaming. But he survived.
Oh, was it painful for him, the needle?
I mean, it was a thick needle.
Like a thick one.
Thick needle.
Yeah,
it wasn't meant to go into
I can't
his
even
thigh.
picture it. I've never really
like the
seen
needle
it
that's
thick as-
given in one of these epinephrine auto injectors are really thin.
Can you find
and
it?
cute?
Yeah. So
And then look up like a cardiac epinephrine kit, and you'll see how
How do
thick
I spell that?
Cardiac, C.
No, epinephrine.
Epi. N-E-P-H. That right there.
an EpiPen, they just don't carry them on planes.
So they didn't at that time.
Oh, okay.
So we give him the dose, and then he actually scared me because he said, "Oh, I think it's coming back," and I was so nervous because I was like, "Oh my God, do I have to cut into his throat now? Because like it's coming back." But I realized giving him the epinephrine, this is adrenaline, right?
Yeah.
So he started getting really dry throat, which, you know, if you're going on stage and you have a dump of adrenaline, you also feel that. That's what he was actually feeling. And I used my iPhone flashlight to confirm that it wasn't actually closing up again. So we monitored his vitals the rest of the flight, got him off safely. We had like a little reunion afterwards when we landed. And like a few days later, he was healthy, happy, saved this young man's life. And the cool part was afterwards, I started telling the story on YouTube, which is like power of social media. And we got some, specifically a U.S. senator in the United States reached out, Chuck Schumer, and said, "Hey, do you want to stand with me and we'll do a press conference mandating that planes get EpiPens on them?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely. So we
That
did
seems
that.
like a no-brainer.
And now we're like 70% of the planes have EpiPens. So
Oh, wow.
from a
So
YouTube experience.
So
to
the allergy, I
making big
imagine it was
influence.
like a nut allergy.
No, so that's what you would think.
Yeah.
He had a very unique situation where he actually developed a red meat allergy after being bit by a tick in the south of the United States called the Lone Star tick. And you could get this really rare reaction from getting bitten by this tick.
That's
you
your
develop a
worst
red meat.
nightmare.
Yeah,
because
'cause I
this guy
love
only
steak.
eats steak.
I love steak.
So this
guy
So
can't
if you ever
eat,
want to go vegan, maybe that might be a
so
strategy.
this guy
moving down south.
This guy can't eat steak no more.
It could be temporary. It might not be for the rest of his
Wow,
life.
Oh, I wouldn't want to fuck around and find out.
Exactly, yeah. So it's scary.
You really can't avoid that as well, just getting a bit by a tick. It's just so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he wasn't really aware of it either. So
That's wild, man. You literally lived out like what, like a
Grey's
movie.
Anatomy episode,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
And so do you get? Do they cut you a little check? Like, yo, thanks for the.
You would think so, right? So we land, the plane lands, and all the passengers who witnessed this mayhem that was going on look at me and they're thanking me. And I'm like, "Oh, you're thanking me because I saved this young guy's life, right?" They go, "Oh no, we're thanking you for not diverting the flight."
Fuck off.
I'm like, "All right, humanity, 1 point.
Yeah.
Okay, good." And then I'm like, "The flight attendants, thank you so much for helping me. You guys were awesome. They wrote me a card. They all signed it. Thank you for your medical help." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." They said, "Can we have your frequent flyer number? We want to send you a reward from the airline for not diverting. It's, you know, tens of thousands of dollars."
Lifetime gold status.
That's
Let's
what
go.
I'm thinking. Or maybe refund my ticket, you know,
Ooh,
something
that would be
unique. $100.
Oh, fuck's sake.
That
So I
is
was able
nuts.
to check my luggage on the way back for free.
Oh, shit.
That is nuts.
These airlines are always stingy, though. Like, when someone gets delayed and they'll give you, like, oh, you can get a free drink on the flight.
I'm
It's just
surprised they didn't charge me for using their epinephrine. to be
Yeah.
honest. Like,
That's a good-
oh, are you going to reimburse us for this?
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
I mean,
That is crazy.
especially considering I heard, right, and tell me if this is true, in the US, and it cost like over it's like $2,000 to call an
Oh.
ambulance.
Oh, I mean, it depends where you
Where-
are,
yeah.
what your insurance is. The problem is we don't have a universal healthcare system like you guys do.
Yeah.
So we have this hybrid system where sometimes the government pays if you fall in a specific patient population. You're elderly, you're pregnant, you're a kid, what have you. Then there's people who are covered by their employers. Then there's people who buy it on their own. And when you have this like multi-system, no one knows what insurance they have. Everyone has a slightly different insurance. None of these insurance carriers are trying to improve that person's life in order to prevent the problem. Because in a universal healthcare system, if you invest in prevention, you reap the benefits of having less problems. But when you're a commercial system where you're insuring someone for 1 year, 2 years, you don't care if they're going to be healthy 10 years down the road. You just want to save as much money now and not pay to get them health care. So it's a really shitty system that we have
Yeah.
here right
Yeah,
now.
it's confusing.
It does make you appreciate what the NHS, obviously.
Although I'm going to throw a little shade. NHS
Yeah.
has problems too these days with funding.
oh man, it's
and,
fucked.
yeah.
It's on its knees.
Oh, okay. So
Oh no, that's not
You could say that.
like an unpopular
Yeah.
opinion. Like
Okay,
everyone
good.
in the UK, everyone's there like, yeah, no, the NHS is like a really good thing, and then everyone's there like,
It'll take a
we'll raise
while
the
as well.
taxes so we could pay for it, and everyone's like, nah,
Like, getting
don't do
something
that.
done through the NHS can take a sweet minute.
Yeah.
Take a
Yeah.
long time.
And then
Same thing with Canada. I mean, everyone says like, oh, we wish this was our system. It's like, yeah, and there'll be new problems. So like, we
Of
have to
course.
figure this out together. So ever evolving issue.
One of the
Yeah.
things that you touch on in a number of your videos are like medical myths.
Yes.
And I'm excited to ask about a few of these things.
Okay,
Off
cool.
the top of your head, are there any of the most common medical myths
Yeah.
that you come across or you get frequently asked about?
There's two topics that are super viral right now. Topic one is living longer. So there's like this huge obsession with biohacking and longevity and outliving everyone else. And I got to say, it's complete poo-poo.
No,
Okay.
not that Brian. What's his name? The guy that invests $2 million a year on his health.
he's-
Is
he
it the
was
red
on
light
a
guy?
podcast, yeah.
Oh, he was on your
But
podcast. Yeah.
So yeah, what about him? What are your
No,
feelings
but
on him?
you're talking about living longer. His whole life is about living longer.
Well, he's
Experimenting.
experimenting on himself.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I had him on my podcast, I very clearly discussed with him that, look, you doing this on yourself is totally cool. People have bodily autonomy. You're supposed to be able to do with your health what you want. Like some people will go rock climbing and that's really risky. Other people say never. I became a professional fighter. Not healthy, but I do it because I accept the risks. So if he accepted the risks, that's cool. The issue is when from his experiment, he starts extrapolating that and saying that's going to work for everyone.
Yeah.
Or other people will look at what he's doing and extrapolate and think it'll work for them. And that's where I have to draw the line and say that's absolutely not true.